Hello class. In this video we're actually going to start a new drawing. We'll have a few videos like the last one, and this is the second floor plan we're going to begin to work on. Here's the PDF we're providing you of what the second floor plan looks like. You'll notice one change, which I'll talk about probably in a later video, is that we're not giving you one showing dimensions. We're going to let you sort of think through some of these issues and figure some of the sizes out. Nonetheless, in this video, we're going to look how to set up the second floor plan, because it's clear the second floor plans, they sit on top of first floors. And so while we're not giving you dimensions, there's a lot of information on this drawing that you already know because you have the first floor plan. And because we're working in AutoCAD, there are a series of steps you can do to make sure you get it exactly right. So that's what we're going to do in this video. We're setting up your drawing so you can get it to work out as easily as possible and draw as quickly as possible. So I'm going to pull this drawing off to the side here. This is the drawing. I opened our last assignment, which is the first floor plan. We're looking at the layout space and the title block, and we'll get into that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to model space to go back into my model space, and I'll just continue working in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually do a series of steps. You'll have to watch closely, but essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a copy of my first floor plan and make it as a template underlay on top of which I'll draw my second floor plan. You can do it off to the side or above. Probably should draw the second floor plan above. It'll set me up better for my elevations in the coming assignments. That said, if you are really skilled with AutoCAD, you know there's actually lots of different ways of doing this. I'm picking one way that I think is good for beginners to A, wrap your head around it, 2, get practice in drawing, and 3, work with the network that we have on campus, which is to say it's not very strong network. So we have some limitations there. So you might know other ways of doing this, and if you do them, that's fine. All I care about is that you get this drawing done. Right. So, but for those of you who might want a helping hand, that's what we'll do in this video. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to come up to my clipboard button here, and I'm going to go to this button, which is copy. And I'm going to just select everything, a window around all of that by clicking, and then hit enter. So put it into my clipboard. It's in the computer's memory. Another way of saying that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to this button here and go to paste. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. I'm going to go to this arrow, then this arrow, and I'm going to go paste as block. And I'm not going to get into the details of what a block is. If we do, we'll do that in lecture, but it's a group of elements. That's the simplest way of thinking about it. So you can see now this is acting as one. I click on it once, the whole thing gets selected, as opposed to, of course, down there where each individual element is done that way. Now I'm going to make a special layer that's not in our layer dialog box that I like to use for things. You'll actually know if you do go when you see a layer called 0xref. We're not using xref in this class. Don't worry about it, but it's something we're not using. We're sort of doing a workaround. But what I'm going to do is going to do something very similar. I'm going to make a 0 or a layer. I'm going to call it 0 dash, and the 0 is to put it above all the other layers. I'm just going to call it first floor block. You can call it first floor, whatever you want. Really, the 0 makes it nice because it just stays at the top of the list like that. And so what I'm going to do is I'll finish something off here. Just to make sure I've got things aligned, I want to make sure these two floor plans are aligned. So I'm going to draw a guideline from one corner straight up, and just make sure that the corner of this second floor plan fits right on top, just like that. So you can see this guideline is from this corner, and it matches up with that corner or that side of the wall. And then I'm just going to erase this guideline, just like that. So they sit one on top of the other. Now, this is between the two. That doesn't matter so much. In a much later assignment, you'll be doing dimensions, so you might want to give yourself some room there, but you can always move it later if you need to. But approximately what I have showing should be good enough. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this whole block, and it's on whatever layer you are currently on. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come and select it and put it on the 0 first floor block. And the color of this layer really doesn't matter. But so all I've done is I've changed the layer that's controlling this whole thing. And now watch what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to my layer control panel, and I'm going to hit the little lock button next to this first floor block layer to lock it. And that has done a couple of things for me. One is it's locked it in place. So as I'm working with the second floor plan, I won't accidentally select or edit or change the first floor plan because I want that to be a guide to make sure it's perfectly oriented. The second thing it does, you'll notice it actually is faded. If I compare the unlocked, this is gonna remain my first floor down here for the rest of the class. This is just a temporary holding place for my second floor plan. It's made it lighter so I can also tell the difference between what is my guide for my second floor and what will be my first floor. Now, just jumping ahead, I'll start another video to go over actually drawing the elements of the second floor plan. That'll be in a different video, and that's coming up here shortly. But just to show ahead, another feature of what this method has done is once I've done using this as a guide, you'll see in the next video why it's important to use as a guide. I can also just turn it off really easily so that just my second floor plan will show when I'm done with this series of videos. What I'll have is the first floor down here, the second floor up here, and I can always go back and turn that layer back on or off if I need to sort of recalibrate as needed or check something. So it gives me lots of flexibility. And what we're really going to do in the next video is we're going to draw right on top of it. We're going to trace rather than going back to the dimensions or measuring the dimensions down here. We won't even worry. We'll just say, okay, well, the exterior walls need to line up. Let's just draw it. So again, it's going back to these tricks that I have in a lot of videos, which is worry less about numbers. Let AutoCAD, the geometries and the tools, let them figure it out for you. So all you're doing is you're tracing, you're running commands, and you're not getting into the weeds of the numbers where mistakes can happen. Because what we really want is perfection. And so doing this step really helps you draw an accurate second floor plan. And then in the end, you'll have few dimensions you won't even most of the dimensions will be on there is what I'm trying to say. There'll only be a few left that you'll have to figure out on your own, and we'll talk about that in a follow-up video. So we'll come back with a video to go over the walls, I think, as we'll start again there, and see you there.